Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
But did we not all love the iZombie Genie references that were in this episode?
She was the star of this episode.
Dude, she was
Time
killing
for trivia.
it. I loved it so much. But hey guys, welcome to iZombie AfterBuzz After Show. You guys, I'm your host Hannah Prichard. You all can tweet at me at the Hotshot Dude. Here's everybody else. Introduce yourself.
Yes, I am Blake V. You can find me on Twitter at Blake V Media.
I'm Jared Gilkerson. That's at Gilkerson Radio on Twitter.
Thanks everybody so much. You all can catch us on YouTube, AfterBuzzTV.com/iZombie. Download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, tweet at us. We love to hear what you guys have to say and correct us on things as always, which thank you to Moody Lupin on YouTube for clearing up some things for us about how the scratches and things worked. We appreciate that
digging
stuff.
The Harry Potter reference.
Yeah,
got
we
you.
dig it so much.
You.
But you guys can do that using the hashtag for Twitter, hashtag ABTViZombie, and let us know what you think and talk to us and da-da-da, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, and an additional shout out, if I may, on Twitter as well, to at D. Galka David. Had some really good information for us too, so just want to add that extra shout out.
And we also want to thank, sorry, we're starting off with a bunch of shout outs, but you know, just got to show some love back to you guys for showing love to us. But Raul, and I hope I'm saying your name right, man, because it's going to be so embarrassing if I butcher it. But Raul Coley, who plays Ravi on the
himself.
show, actually retweeted Where to Catch Us, which was really, really awesome. Thank you so much, man. So maybe now you should come on the show and hang out with us.
Yeah.
That's right. We need a guest.
If you're watching.
That's right.
But anyways, guys, really great show. I really like the we didn't focus as much on a case tonight. I felt like we got into more character relationships a bit more, and the case was kind of condensed a little bit. But I wanted to start by talking about Peyton, because we got so much more of Peyton in this episode, which I thought was awesome. Well,
Finally.
you're real happy about that. We've been talking about all the dudes, and now you get to talk about your lady love. And she was awesome.
No, it was great. I know. I feel like this whole time we had been kind of like speculating what she did, or kind of her involvement as roommate to Liv.
Right.
But it just got thrown at us this episode. It was great. We saw exactly what she does
Exactly.
now.
And they told us so quickly and so openly that I felt like we had already known. I was like, did we miss when they told us that she was like a lawyer?
We didn't.
We didn't miss, right? I don't know. You guys correct us. Did we miss it?
Yeah. Yeah, please let us know, because we're all in agreement. Like, oh, okay. Criminal justice attorney.
Exactly.
Here we go.
Right. But it makes perfect sense, because that ties her into everything that they do on the show. Now she can be one of them. She can be a part of it all.
Yeah, she's not just a throwaway now. It was earlier. I thought I was getting like kind of privileged vibe. You know, kind of just like money from the family, and I'm living, and I have my roommate, and we kind of party. But now she's a legit character that you're going to see some real substance with.
Yeah. And I was actually thinking early on, when they introduced her into the case, and there was like that little bit of conflict at first, was that this was going to be conflict going forward. Like, oh no, is she going to be kind of an opposing force in all of this going forward? You know, Liv trying to figure out these cases and things, and then like Peyton is over here on the side kind of putting a wrench in the plans.
Exactly.
So it could go both ways, perhaps.
It could, and I agree with you. At first, I thought it was going to be that same way when her and Liv sat down, and Liv, which granted, Liv had the characteristics of a hitman who didn't really have any sympathy for her roommate at the time. But when there was a conflicting issue with, you know, Liv going through her cases, using her files, and that actually derailed her case, I was concerned about that as well. But they did bring it back to her at the end and allowed her to kind of put the closing factor on the entire case, which was nice. So
it was
I think
reassuring.
Yeah, so I think I'm hoping that in the end they end up using her for everything.
Yeah, I hope she's, like you were saying, like more of a deterrent. Like I hope there's like a case or something where everyone's there and Peyton's just stopping all the progress for the current case and really hurting Liv.
Which would be cool, because then Liv would have that issue of having to tell her secrets, or allowing her friend to just kind of ruin what she may come to light, or whatnot.
And maybe unknowingly,
exactly,
that could be what forces her to share the secrets with her. Yeah, I kind of see it happening. Kind of see that.
She better just tell her you're psychic, like the cop, and he fell for it. So
yeah, right.
Come on,
right.
Why not your best friend and roommate?
Yeah.
I'm sure at some point she'll have to derail their case. Yeah. I'm sure. Like, there's no way not. But I like to think for a while maybe she'll be brought in as something to help alongside with the case.
Yeah.
Then we'll get to see her character more, and I want to. Yeah. I like her so
right.
much.
Yes.
I like her so much.
Make it happen.
Less Major, more Peyton.
Okay, more of both. More of both. We got a little bit more of him tonight, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But bringing in Peyton in this way did lead us into the entire case, which we had some issues deciding on the case name this time, because the last couple episodes, there was such like an open moment of hilarity and something with the case that we came up with something. But we ended up going with Gambling in Garbage is what we are going to call this case. And I don't know about anybody else, because we've talked so much about T names the past couple episodes. Was anybody just overwhelmed with the W's tonight? Like, I couldn't. They were saying so many W names back to back. I was like, who, what, wait, what, where are we? What's happening? Who did what? I don't know. W. Webster Walls, what?
Right.
It was
a lot.
It really was. It was a lot.
They got away from T's. Now we're on a W's.
They did, which kind of bummed me out, because we had started to make a list, you guys, of the T names, and we're hoping that we could add to it tonight, and it would be like a funny haha thing, but no.
Well, we're starting a whole new W list, apparently.
Exactly.
So
maybe that
we'll
is a
keep
theme
both
up
lists
there,
going.
is keeping like a certain letter for a bunch of the, co-star names, etc., etc. But I felt like they almost... which works, it's awesome. But in this case tonight, because the case was so condensed, it was so much hearing all those similar names back to back to back. Like, I don't know if it was hard for any of you guys at home to follow it, but we were all rewinding and struggling and pausing and trying so very hard to come up with it. But we started, I guess, with, was it Wally Walker we started with? That's who brain she ate. Is that correct? Wally Walker. Or no. Marvin Webster is the person's brains. Yeah. That she ate.
Exactly.
Woo, see, I know. Guys, I'm already confused.
Right off the bat. Yes. Webster was the first one.
Well, and we learned through her eating the brains this time that I think we got some answers about her carrying the characteristics of the people's brains that she eats, because at the beginning, Ravi had mentioned, you no longer have the artist's characteristics anymore, or she had mentioned that those had faded away. So clearly they fade away on their own, or they go away by her eating somebody else's brains. Those are the two options, yes?
Yes.
Yep.
We still didn't get really a timeline, but I'm imagining a week? Maybe,
depending on how long she stretches the brains for. If she brings a little doggy bag, like
right, little
right.
snacks like midday snacks,
keeps it going.
Right.
But so we start with her eating Marvin Webster, who was the person who got ran over. Correct. Yes, correct.
Yes.
Okay. Keep me going, guys, because I gotta keep this all together. Yes. And then Wally Walker is the one who gets shot. Now, Marvin Webster is the case that Babs is taking over, and Wally Walker is the case that Peyton is taking care of. And then we find out they go hand in hand. Am I doing great, guys?
Yes. I think you got it.
I got it, so far.
We're in.
Stop me if you have any feels about it, guys. I'm just trying to walk myself
I'm
through
sure
it.
you'll hear about it on Twitter.
I'm sure that I will.
They'll let us
be
know.
Like, guys, I mean, that was a little bit of a struggle. I thought about making a diagram. Truly, seriously, I did.
This one was a little tricky. Yeah, there was a lot going on.
It was. Like a little flow chart for it. And then we also had Don Watts and Gus Williams.
Can we call Don Watts by his real name?
Angel Investor.
Sorry.
The Angel Investor.
Is that what you want?
Yes,
I just
that's
had to
exactly
hear
it.
Angel Investor. Which, has anybody heard of an angel investor? We should have looked it up.
I think in the affluent world that he's coming from, I'm sure angel investors are everywhere. It's not something you would hear of every day, but don't we all wish we had someone that would donate that capital for our businesses? It's like, let's all have an angel investor, please.
It was so bizarre to me. It almost sounded like, and this is silly and stupid and probably horrible, but it kind of kept making me think of the Make-A-Wish thing. I'm like, is this like an angel investor? Like he's granting you all with this money that you may receive, bestowing it upon that family. That's what it sounded like to me, which is awful. That's maybe probably a bad thing. I shouldn't have admitted that out loud.
Good. Trust me, it's fine.
It's totally fine. Okay, great. But then Donald Watts was also Wally's business partner, correct? And they established that pretty early on, which I didn't catch on until the end, though, which was great. And then Freddie Brown, who I thought was actually going to be the guy who received the money. I actually thought kind of at the beginning that he was going to be more involved than he was, and then he was just like a throwaway.
Yeah.
Do you think
I agree? Yeah. Because I had that same thought too. Is like, oh, definitely that guy.
Or yeah,
and then nothing really.
No, nothing at all.
They're just trying to deter you from the beginning with a
I guess
Which has been consistent from episode to episode. They've always got to throw in those sneaky,
It's true.
you know, those sneaky parts.
But
that
I guess we
don't
should
really
have
add up.
known that he wouldn't be involved because he didn't have a W name.
It's true.
That was the first tip off.
All of the people who weren't involved didn't have W names that were introduced. So Freddie Brown didn't have a W name. He was out. Frank Smitty Smith, because his nickname was Schmitty, which I liked. So Frank Schmitty Smith was introduced, but he wasn't involved. And he didn't have a W name. So, like, do you all think that's something the writers are trying to do?
Well, Gus Williams wasn't involved, and he had a W last name.
That's true. That's true.
Gus Williams.
Oh, we can't get a handle on this.
Dang it. But Gus was introduced as a suspect, which the other two weren't.
And good thought process. Yeah, like,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
know.
there's got to be some little reason for
And I love that, like,
names.
the hobo's name was Gus Williams. I feel like that was a very, like, nice, identifiable name for the hobo man. I'm like, would we know the hobo's name? How would we track down Hobo Man?
Well, they can do all kinds of investigating.
I know.
on this.
I guess that's true. I like to think that hobos have nothing.
A finger.
A finger.
A finger. Just a finger.
Just a fingerprint, and we know. Anyways, I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, so any thoughts on this case? I liked this case. I liked that we didn't focus on it as much. I know that some of you guys get bugged out by how much we like go into the case, but they're a lot to handle, right?
They are, yes. They are until you get to the end. You know, it's like the story and kind of the unfolding of it is very interesting. We definitely, it makes us work to keep up with it. But at the ends, when it really comes together and you get like the confession or like the final, you know, the final hurrah, like
right,
kind of solving everything, it's like, it kind of falls together so perfectly that it's like, oh, okay. And it goes so quickly too that it's like, oh, well then there it is.
Which you knew the entire time that it was going to be Don Watts.
As soon as they went to the news broadcast with Peyton in her power suit.
Right? I love that.
And they introduced all the characters, all the key players. It just seemed like they were trying to make it seem that it's the creepy, who is that, Freddie Brown, which it wasn't. So the only other guy, and they said angel investor. So this guy had some kind of money. Also, he's trying to be too good of the, you know, guy helping out everybody. So I think they were kind of, I think they were steering you to him. It almost was too obvious.
It was.
But I mean, it's fine because I think, like you were saying at the beginning, that the case wasn't such a huge focal point for the episode.
No, it wasn't. So I guess we didn't need to have so many different things come in and try to steer us away from the end result of it, because it really wasn't the main factor in the show tonight, which
I really liked.
I did too.
Yes.
Like, that was the only time when they were focusing on the case that it felt like my brain was hurting, you know what I mean? But the rest of it, I actually felt like I got to enjoy the episode without trying to work so hard to watch the, you know what I mean? I really, really liked that a lot.
I know. Well, I feel like we learned so much more about really everything. I mean, we learned so much more about Liv's personality and her kind of, you know, the whole zombie aspect of things.
Exactly.
We learned a lot more. We learned a lot more about Peyton. And even more about Robbie's character too, I feel like. So
we did, which we're gonna get to.
Major.
We did.
And Major.
Bro's over here trying to help me move along to the next point. I love him so much. Great. Everybody's so wonderful. But yeah, that brings us into Major. Because, I mean, does anybody need to go on more about the case? Like, we ended up having the garbage man. That's why we called it gambling and garbage. We see the gambling when we go into the trivia bar, which is where the I Dream of Jeannie thing comes from, which we absolutely love that character. Hope she comes back. I don't know why she would, but
well, she was an integral part
great?
of the investigation because she took so many pictures.
That's
right.
Up on the
she
wall.
laid it out right for him.
It was like an extra vision. She got an extra vision, and it was from the genie.
It's true. So that was pretty awesome. But we end up getting that garbage man vision. So they use that against him at the very end and just have Ravi dress up as the garbage man, making the guy, Don Watts, sorry, not the guy, Don Watts so quickly just confess or whatever, just kind of give in to them and allow his sentence.
Easiest confession.
Yeah, literally just he like crumbled into it, I feel like.
Right?
He was so confident The most confident character they've ever had in the show.
Cocky as hell.
Yeah. And then
Which was a great
guy,
performance,
yes.
I will say. He actually was really great. I liked him as an actor on the show.
I liked his lawyer. Did you write his name? Was it Jimmy?
A man of few words.
Right. You like his lawyer by literally doing nothing.
I know.
He was
But I like how confident his lawyer was. He's like, I'll have you out in an hour.
I was
and that
gonna
was
say.
it. He's like, I'm getting an Oscar for an Emmy.
Right?
It's his Emmy moment.
And he maybe said,
Right.
like, don't at one point. I don't know. Like, that was about it.
That
Killed
combination
it, man.
was
Yeah,
great.
yeah. Or yes, the actual moment of the confession where he had to sign the document, and he's just like, "Ugh, okay," and then the lawyer just says nothing. It's like, oh, okay.
Clearly,
no
you all
argument.
wanted to get on with the case as well,
Right.
is what I think what was happening.
Yeah.
But anyways, that brings us in to Major, who we first talk about in the episode through Peyton. Peyton shows Liv a post that some girl who Major has made out with had posted online, which I loved what Liv said, or not Liv, what Peyton had said about it, tagged him and he liked it, and she was like, oh, sorry, that was kind of dirty, and I didn't realize how that would come off, which I thought was
Clever.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
Tagged him and he liked it. Yeah. I'm going to start saying that if I had more boys to say that about.
Oh, maybe you will now.
Call in, suitors.
There we
call
go.
in.
There
No,
we
I'm
go.
just kidding. But it's so interesting at this point. It made me wonder about Liv's true feelings and emotions, because in the last episode, you know, we see her go over and try to get Major back. And in this episode, when Liv is showing her this, she's not affected because of the brains that she had just ate. And the last episode, she was affected by going over there because of the brains that she had just ate. So we haven't really got to see Liv's true feelings towards Major that much at this point, which kind of made me question that. I'm intrigued to see more of how she actually feels about Major.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting. We really have gone from one extreme to the next between last episode and this episode. But we did get a peek into her true feelings at the very end, once the brains wore off, that she was affected by it. And even if she is not really in love with him still, I mean, I think it's still hurtful to see her fairly recent relationship engagement, you know, move right along.
Right.
Because it's like, even if she made the decision to not be with him, she's not necessarily moved on because she can't, or so she thinks at this point. So it's like she's kind of stuck in this static moment of having to just live with herself, and then she gets to see Major go on and flourish and have new ladies in his life.
I don't know if a Jenga party is actually flourishing, but I mean,
For him, it might be.
I know that might be like a real
true.
crazy
You know?
night out for Mr. Major. What's his last name? I want to know what his last name is.
I think we know.
I hope it's like Pain or
Oh, wait,
Attitude.
no, somebody did tell us.
We should know.
Somebody commented
probably
it
on
and
I have a
told
feeling
us.
we'll know tonight.
It's a ridiculous last
Someone
name,
let us
whatever
know.
it is. It's like Lily Wonder. So something. It's something
Major
ridiculous.
Lily Wonder.
Like, it's absolutely silly. I wish I remember it or wrote it down or something. But it's something absolutely
Amazing.
silly.
Fantastic.
Yes. Like, such a sissy last name is really what
What
it
should
is.
be.
It should actually
It should be.
be.
He's like playing. All he does is play video games and Jenga with all of his girlfriends.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Those are the moments that the writers have chose to show for Major. So they're trying to kind of tell us that he's not threatening at all.
He's not.
Plus, he told his girlfriend to go party on the boat with a bunch of single guys.
Without
Exactly.
him. Clearly not his scene.
No. And now we only just see him when he's dropping back off her things 6 months later.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Major's got some
issues or something.
big time.
But he is, you know, a sweet man in the way that he volunteers at a shelter.
It's his job.
Right.
Yeah.
And
It's his job.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not volunteer work. So you're getting paid for it, bro. So maybe you're not that great.
But I did think that was interesting too. It was an interesting way to tie him back in where it had nothing to do with the relationship with
know.
Liv, right? Like he was really doing
They pulled in
a good
all the
deed.
characters tonight.
They did.
Like 4 cases. Like, I thought it was really, really cool. It was nice to see that so much.
He's the true angel investor of this episode.
He is. He is.
He is, but he introduces us to Jerome, who is one of the kids he works with at the shelter, and explains that their friend Eddie, the skateboarder, has ran away, but has been missing for 4 days, which brings us also to Blaine, who I love,
Right.
who we
Popping
did
in at the end there.
who we did not get enough of in this episode, but we did see at the beginning that Liv sort of drew the line with him, that she does not trust him, and I feel like they kind of which I think is just going to create more tension. I know nobody agrees with me. I caught on to the comments. Nobody agrees with me that they're going to end up together, but they are. They are.
Well, now that you mentioned him showing up in the morgue, I mean, this is kind of a side note. I know it's kind of a throwaway, but how do these people just keep walking into such a classified area? I mean, they are just just letting everybody in.
It's absolutely true. I have no idea.
Like, do you have to have credentials? I know this is going nowhere, but...
Or does he just have sly zombie ways?
Well,
that's the only thing I can think of.
Major got in with... Who is it? You want Jamal, you said?
Jerome. Well, Major knows Liv. Like, he can just be like, that's my ex-fiance in there.
Right.
Let me in.
Like, I know people.
Yeah.
Let me in.
Right?
But yeah, that is interesting that their entrance policy is so very lax.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, not enough of Blaine this episode, but he did have some key moments. Like, he popped in the beginning, called Liv out for not, you know, delivering the goods from last time, the brains.
Right.
And then popped back in at the end for like a horrifying moment of what the heck is going to happen.
Right. Didn't you guys know, though, right when Jerome was introduced, that it had to do with Blaine? Like, I felt like immediately I was like, because they explained that some drug or candy man, what did they call him?
Like, the Candyman with the Utopian.
The Candyman with the utopian, whatever it is.
I know that word has become like a hot word for Blaine. It's like an automatic attachment.
It has. Exactly. So immediately I was like, dude, that's totally Blaine being a creepy drug dealer. Like, we know what he's doing. He's turning people zombies so he can just give them brains and make money off of it.
So you thought Blaine, and my mind went elsewhere because he obviously had a boss when he was in the drug business, and they were saying how it was, you know, I still don't think Blaine was in charge of, you know.
No, I don't either.
So poisoning this drug or making it this super zombie drug. So I thought it was going to be kind of an introduction to someone higher in the totem pole that we were going to get more clues to how this drug was made. We're getting there.
That would have been cool.
But we're just not there yet.
I know, and I wonder, I still don't feel like we're going to get there in the next episode, but eventually we'll have to.
Yeah.
We'll have to, but I guess we'll get there once we find out more about this drug in general.
Yeah.
Which I still feel like we're away from that as well, because now we have to tackle this issue of Blaine, you know, turning these people into zombies and then selling them brains to make money. Like, that is what he's doing, right? That's what we think he's doing.
I think he's still doing both. He's still selling Utopian somehow, because he was in that skate park and they were saying that how the kids down there were buying that. So I think he's selling both.
But I felt like that was something that he was using to lure kids. Like, I'm selling this so I can get you a loan and show you what this drug is and then turn you into a zombie.
That's exactly what I thought too at the end.
Okay.
He's like, let me walk you back there.
Exactly.
It's like if he was just going to sell it to him, he could have just done the deal right there.
Yeah.
I stand corrected. I'm an idiot.
Listen, we could still be wrong.
No, I am stupid.
We may stand corrected like next week.
No, and the whole just like follow me over here was what tipped me off. That was like the creepy factor of like, oh dang,
exactly.
Don't go, Jerome.
He's cool though. Actually, that was my favorite scene of his in the entire so far.
I know you were chuckling over there. I'm like, he's loving Blaine being just this bad boy.
If you're gonna be a bad guy, if you're gonna be a heel, you know, just he's like just embracing that. And so I'm like, this guy is he's done. You know, Jerome's done.
But I actually like Jerome in that short amount of time. I'm like, don't hurt Jerome.
Easy target.
I know, like, don't
hurt him.
Jerome, no.
He seems like a sweet man, and we already know that Eddie is screwed.
Well, this is going to lead to, I think, Blaine having more contact with Major, and then him finding out where kind of maybe she lives, or that, like, you know, how he can use that to his advantage.
Absolutely true. Yeah. It opens up the door to the possibility of Major needing to be told about Liv, or having like a window into what. That's something
totally. That is
off.
A good point. Yeah.
I had to make up for my lack of intelligence.
There you go. It happened.
Say something smart now.
You said something really smart.
Really smart.
Mind blown. But no, I'm stoked for that, because that just means we're going to see a lot of Blaine next week. Right?
Hopefully. Yes.
Right? I'm loving it so much. And then we're going to have to see Blaine and Liv. I'm sorry. I'll stop talking about
We're going to have that ultimate moment of Blaine and Peyton. It's going to be one ultimate
I know,
moment.
Which we kind of talked about last week after
Power
left,
couple.
Right?
Yeah.
When we were walking out, we kind of talked about maybe it's actually Peyton that will end up with Blaine. Like the best friend with the girl, with the guy that Liv hates.
Could you imagine?
I know.
Crazy.
Which I would be behind that as well. I just want to see, I think I just want to see David Anders so bad as like a leading man romance kind of thing. I just enjoy him as an actor, and I think I just really want to see that for him. So everybody just let me.
Maybe they'll hear your calls and they'll be like, let's write this in. Let's make this happen.
Please, let's do it. Well, and also because I don't really care. I don't not care for Major's character. I just don't care for him for Liv. I think it's just kind of.
Here come the couple conversations.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, guys.
I love it.
I feel like it's just he may be too weak for Liv.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what she needs. She's the alpha.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't dig it. I still need to see more of their relationship prior to her becoming a zombie.
Yeah. I agree. I think we haven't seen enough past to kind of know what was there. I think based off of last week, we already had some questions in terms of like, why did he allow her to go to the party alone? Why can't she tell him that she's a zombie? Like she should feel comfortable with that right off the bat. So there's like a lot of factors that are going into their past that are kind of unanswered and strange. So yeah, it's a little empty.
I'm absolutely shocked that we haven't had any flashbacks yet.
Yeah.
Like really, really am. I don't know if there's going to be a full episode like dedicated to it, but I think it's weird that there's a 6-month time period that we've entirely missed.
Yeah.
You'll get something.
Yeah. They'll
We
have
have
to
to get
revisit
something.
it. Yeah.
And then it'll be something where, and also it'll be one of her visions, I think. I think she's going to like eat the brains of someone they both knew or an acquaintance or someone else on the boat. And so you're going to get more info from maybe earlier that night. You're going to get kind of a link there.
Which is another thing because we saw her towards the end, kind of shove the brains down. Not kind of, she did shove the brains down the disposal because she realizes that she's kind of being numb to everything. And she they kind of describe it in a way like of it being a drug in some way. Which I thought
was cool.
It was cool.
It shows how much it affects her and how crazy it takes over. And she was eating this one brain that was affecting her in such a way that it was making her feel like, numb to everything. So I'm not having to feel the pain from Major and the pain from Marcy and Peyton and all of these people. And she realizes it and then makes the conscious decision to completely get rid of it.
Which makes me wonder if that's going to become a struggle for her trying to not eat the brains, but she has to eat the brains to live, or else she turns into Marcy.
Right.
Oh.
And even kind of determining... Sorry, guys.
You just had a Marcy moment.
And side note real quick, and just determining like when to quit eating the specific brains, because it's like she's gonna have to eat them to a certain point to be able to help solve the case, but then know where to like cut the cord and then go on to the next. So that's an interesting dynamic too.
Exactly.
And now Marcy.
Right. But along with that, now I want to keep talking about it more. But now it allows us that we're going to see, how she does really feel about Major, and we'll get to see her and Peyton's relationship expand more. Because at the end, we saw her like crying together, having a complete girl moment of watching back that video, which all girls know we do it. It's like, oh, I'm going to stalk you and your new girlfriend. And then cry about it in my bed. Or just talk crap about it with our girlfriends and be like, oh, she's not that pretty. Oh, she looks stupid. Well, she posted that publicly. Clearly they're making out. Who posted a makeout picture when you first start dating? And that.
I thought at first he was proposing to her during a Jenga game.
Oh my gosh. No, that would be too much too fast.
Is it the same girl from the video game night too?
I would assume.
I didn't think it was.
Oh.
Because didn't that girl have like really dark hair?
Right.
I'll have to go back and look at it.
Yeah, I kind of assumed that. I kind of assumed it was the same girl. And I got like engagement vibe too from that initial video.
Really?
Just kind of like
It
the
was
way,
weird,
like there were people and then they came together and like the whole moment of it, I was like.
And no one could be that happy during a Jenga party and while taping it. It just seemed odd to me that like all these willing people were like, what a cute moment.
Yeah,
your friends would give you such crap for having that much fun for losing in Jenga.
Right?
So
I don't know what was happening.
Maybe it struck a chord. Maybe they had like Monopoly night or something at their old, 5 years ago or whatever. They used to have these.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. But it made me actually want to play Jenga. I enjoy Jenga, so y'all can hate on it, but I like Jenga.
Next week, live.
And I want
Jenga
a Jenga
game.
party.
Right here in the middle of the
Hey,
table.
that'd be really fun.
As we talk.
Nobody would like to watch that, but that'd be really, really fun.
Nobody. Except for Major's friends.
True.
Exactly.
Very true.
Okay, but now let's get into Marcy since we keep like getting sidetracked from it. we were finally introduced back to Marcy, which we had to, right? I know you guys had commented as well. Where is Marcy? Because they introduced her in the like first 5 minutes of that first episode, and I think we all thought she was going to be a very important, integral character, which apparently she's still not, because they immediately just killed her right back off. It's stupid, but it was an interesting storyline to watch. Which I was actually hoping at the beginning of the episode that was going to be the case, because I had a perfect name for the case.
Oh no!
Which was
Virgin Stew. Because that kid was like, don't put your hand in there, then it's going to eat us, and it's just going to be like a virgin stew. And I thought that was so funny.
That was it.
So funny. I was stoked for that.
No, that totally would have been good. I know. Cool intro, too. Like, completely random kids just, like, trying to make a movie in the abandoned shipyard, and then they stumbled upon the leftover zombie from the whole apocalypse that no one has mentioned yet.
Right?
From the whole takeover.
So she was down there then for 6 months.
Chilling down in the hole for 6 months. However,
cops are terrible.
Yeah,
right.
Really.
Still, this whole apocalypse has not been detected.
No, it's not been mentioned. No, nothing. Yeah, and she's just been there this whole time.
Yeah.
But still an interesting intro, and I like how they like flashed the picture of it up on the news.
Oh, totally cool.
Like,
oh yeah,
a creature has been captured.
The kid never said where he was.
Photographed.
No.
And there was some wood covering the hole, so that's very hard to find.
Like, don't you feel like if a kid
very
posted
obscure.
that,
Yeah.
and then it was put on the news, that police and like government officials in the area or whatever would be like, what is this creature? Where is this? Let's look at the area. Let's go detect. You know what I mean? Figure out what's going on.
We're diving so deep.
You would think. I know.
I
know.
Yeah. They really would, though. They would.
Especially had there just been a zombie takeover 6 months ago, it's like they would be on high alert, right?
Exactly.
Like, what? A creature in a hole in the shipyard.
But they still don't know that there was a zombie takeover. That has like not really been addressed.
Maybe
at
she
all.
wasn't there the whole. I don't know. Makes me think that maybe
Wandered
she wasn't there the whole time.
there and
Maybe
fell
she
in or
was
something?
because maybe she was wandering around town
and fell into the hole and
then
couldn't get back up.
Yeah, and that just happened, you know. And she was hiding.
And then somebody just covered her with boards.
Yeah.
Maybe Blaine covered
Enough
her
of
with
you.
boards.
Enough of you.
Don't
Well, it's
get
all of
back
her
up.
crimes
You.
from partying too much. That's what she gets.
Right.
Yeah, right? Marcy wasn't the nicest at the beginning, so that's what she gets for being that way.
Yeah.
So when they do find her, though, in the hole, of course, it's Liv and Ravi that uncover her. But
Yes.
what's interesting, too, to me about Ravi's character is he's like the eternal optimist.
I know.
And he refuses to believe that this is a permanent situation. No. Ravi believes there is definitely some sort of cure, and if not a cure, like a some sort of way to assist people in this zombie type mode. You know, the first thing he said was like, "Oh no, let's try to help her."
Right, which is wonderful.
Yeah, like he constantly just has this optimistic.
Right, and
outlook.
you kept saying the whole time, you were like, stab her with that venom or whatever.
I thought
it
it
is.
was going to lead to that whole scene where he had some kind of super penicillin or whatever he made, and I thought he was gonna in his last defense, you know, before she's gonna bite his head off, he was gonna just get her with it finally, and then she was gonna just kind of go back. But and we still don't know. He could come up with something because he still didn't get to inject it. So.
Right. Well, and actually, it wasn't even an injection. I don't think.
wasn't?
Well, because he was saying he needed to take a biopsy.
Right.
So it was more of an extraction
to get a sample
than an injection.
I'm dumb.
Yes.
Well, no.
I didn't mean yes. You
Not that.
Side
agreeing
note.
with what she said.
No, I got it.
Yeah, because that's actually what I thought too. He pops out this thing, and I'm like, oh, it's like the anti-serum. It's what he's been working on for Liv or something, but is going to test it on her. And I think it wasn't until he was like standing on the edge, kind of like aiming at Marcy to say like, oh, let me take the biopsy. Or he did something to mention that it would be a biopsy, and then Liv mentioned it again once they were down in the hole. She's like, go ahead and take that biopsy. She's not going anywhere.
Right.
Wait a minute. I thought.
But he did say, I know, it's confusing.
I thought she peed herself. Because no, earlier in the episode, she's like, you keep trying to get a urine sample from me, and I thought she went in full on zombie mode and freaked out that she killed her friend or a coworker. She's like, now you can take that sample from me. Like, I peed myself.
Interesting.
That's what I thought.
Whoa.
Do you remember how when they were cutting the guy's chest open in the beginning, and she's like, yeah, urine sample. I don't know.
That is an interesting connection. I did not make that connection.
I thought it was a joke. I thought she was like, I peed myself.
Explaining it that way, I could totally see your connection on that. I did not catch
I've
on
got
to
nothing.
that.
Did
I'm
anyone
thinking
else
about this.
think the same
Yeah.
thing?
Let us know about that
I'm thinking
one.
like so much about this now. I have like
Right,
nothing to
right.
say about it because I really have no idea.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that was so far my favorite scene in all the 3 episodes because it felt like a true zombie show. You had
really
a
did.
legit creepy zombie, but then it felt like a real action moment. Like it wasn't Ravi with his quips and puns and in control, but he was not in control, and I felt like someone could die here, and it felt like a real action kind of scene.
Yeah,
and then
it
she went
did.
full on zombie mode.
Yeah.
It allowed us to all be very concerned for Ravi and feel for him.
100%.
And be
Yes.
concerned that Liv may go into zombie mode and hurt him to some capacity.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
Ravi may be scratched by this woman as well.
How cool is that? Like to see her
I
go
know.
against him for the first time.
It
Yeah.
was really cool.
Yeah, see that glimpse of
But it was also cool to see him calm her down. It really showed their friendship and their trust. Like even in that zombie mode, and even with her having the characteristics of a man who had zero sympathy, still in that moment, Ravi just being like, calm down, you're okay.
Yeah.
It just
And it worked.
drained right out of her.
Yeah, I know, and really made me curious about the whole state of Marcy. Clearly fully transformed, like in perma full zombie mode. And kind of just like what is the difference between her and Liv? Is it the fact that Liv realized sooner that she needed to feed on brains or whatever the case may be? Like she just caught onto it sooner? Was it because Marcy was trapped that she had no way to figure out what was happening to her? Like what is the difference between each of their
I think she
infections?
just was trapped.
Yeah.
It just had to have been she didn't have the option to get the brains.
She probably had that want for a brain, but,
Right.
and she was turning down there for months. But I think it was she just couldn't get out of there.
Right. Which I'm surprised. I know they tried to help her become more like Liv or tone down her zombiness, whatever, by giving her brains. But I'm surprised going back that second time that they didn't bring more brains because they only dropped in like 1 or 2. I'm like, that's not enough.
She eats that like in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, let's
Right,
keep going.
exactly. I'm
Yeah.
like, she's going to
Like,
need
this
a
lady's
lot
been trapped for 6
more.
months.
Yeah.
She's gonna
I'm
need more than a
Robbie,
few.
If you want to help this lady, you're going to need a lot
Robbie
more
gave
brains.
Bring her a buffet.
He did a little. Like I know
Robbie.
he didn't, but he did. There could have been more done.
Maybe it's all
I
the
think.
brains they could spare.
I don't know. They work in a morgue. I feel like there's a lot down there.
Yeah.
More than 2.
Yeah.
More than the 2 they
Yeah,
dropped
2
in.
brains.
Exactly. True. Which also, was Ravi expecting to drop those brains down there? He just had that lunch packed.
He
Whip
had
that
a plan.
cooler right out.
Yeah. I was like, did you notice what's gonna happen, bro? But I don't know. But anyways.
Yeah, maybe he brought them for Liv.
Maybe.
And then when he saw Marcy, he was like, oh, I got just the thing.
I think he was
It's
hoping.
right here in my
He
pocket.
was hoping to find a zombie and hoping to turn it. He's always one step
Right, those
ahead.
ulterior motives kind of working.
But at least now with him having a sample, where if that's a urine sample or whatever kind of sample
zombie
that
sample.
is, yeah, whatever it is, at least now he'll maybe get some more answers as to a sample from somebody or from a zombie that may be that far down the line. It may give more answers to how he can, fix or keep the process from going further, etc.
And side note, or like maybe prediction, maybe more of side note, is the fact that Liv, having now found Marcy and knowing that she was obviously turned and obviously a part of this whole scenario, could then eat Marcy's brain and have that whole like zombie connection with the vision and everything. Would it work that way? For her to be able to see like the past or anything that Marcy experienced pre-turn, post-turn.
I forget who it was on YouTube. I wish I could credit them.
Yeah.
But I think they tried to clear up the connection thing. I think the only reason that she was seeing Blaine was because she ate the brains of someone who was connected with him earlier.
Yes.
So it wasn't like they had a connection. It was, I ate the brains of someone that he, what was it? Did a drug deal with or something. And so I saw a vision of him. But I don't think when you eat, I don't think there's any kind of real connection like the vampire thing. I don't think there is. I think that's maybe where it's going.
I don't know.
It's interesting, I know, because she didn't eat Blaine's brain to have that sort of connection with him. But had she eaten Blaine's brain, does that change the dynamic?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I think
interesting.
I think there are still some answers we need about those visions, which I think we will get into once Ravi starts finding out more things about her being a zombie. I think all of those things that we keep asking about will start to get cleared up, but I think it's going to take a while.
Yes.
Yeah?
So many questions.
So many questions. But y'all want to go ahead and get into some predictions?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, your AFTERBUZZ TV.
All right. Who wants to kick it off? Go ahead.
I had kind of a hope / prediction.
Okay, let's hear it.
I'm hoping that Liv, because she kind of teased that a brain can be a drug. You know, it's if you get someone who's a sociopath, say that 8 times fast, that you can't, you know, that, okay, I have no feelings, it feels great, and it kind of takes you away from your normal life. Or, you know, you're an artist and you're, you know, it opens your world to so many different things. I'm hoping that she kind of starts saving bits of these brains as drugs. Like, I hope she freezes them like leftovers. Oh my. And like puts a label on them. Like, maybe,
my gosh,
hopefully
that'd be
Peyton's
awesome.
dumb enough.
Yes.
Like, well, she just won't, what is this? What does this mean? Like, smart day. Oh, I don't know. But I hope she kind of saves little bits and pieces and uses them to her advantage later on. Like, if there's someone, you know, making her mad or pissing her off or whatever, she can go, okay, well, this guy knew karate, or this guy knew this. This guy was a fighter. This guy was a killer. I have to use this now. So I think she should start hoarding these brains instead of trashing them. I know that she sees the negative part of them, but she needs to start realizing that.
I love that.
She's not always going to be at the morgue. Like, there's going to be a day where, you know, she could lose her job. She needs to start thinking about the future for her zombie-isms.
That is genius.
It is.
I really
and
like
I bet
that.
you anything, though, it's not going to be her who does it. It's going to be Blaine. And he's going to sell those drugs as, like, uppers and downers.
For
And, like,
zombies.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And make little treats with them.
I really hope the
This
writers
whole little
go that
drug
way.
lab.
I love
Yeah.
that so
That is
much.
great.
I hope they do
Yes.
that.
That's my hope.
Dang, that's a great one.
So awesome.
Love it.
And I hope, you know, Blaine and Peyton.
Of course, of course.
Blaine and
Throw that in there.
We're just going to throw in our love connections really quickly.
That's right.
Love Connections, the new segment.
Yes.
iZombie love connections.
Tune in after if you want to catch our love connections. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Totally. So, you know, I really just would like to see more of Peyton's involvement. Kind of going back to what we were saying about how she may become like a crux in the works, you know, kind of everything going forward. I really feel like that is going to be a strong storyline, and I do kind of see like a negative kind of spin. Like, she may be halting things before she knows the truth of it. She may be kind of halting the, you know, the progress of everything, and I'm almost kind of looking forward to that, because I feel like that's going to be a nice I don't know, juxtaposition of them together. So I kind of
agree.
see more of that, and I want more of that. And side note, not a prediction, but I really liked Liv's shirt.
Oh my God, I wrote it down too.
So did I.
The OMG?
The OMG periodic table of elements style.
That cracks me up. I
liked
seriously,
it.
which I wondered
Yeah.
if you did, because I saw us right at the
Yeah.
same time. I'm like, I wonder if she wants that shirt too.
Dig the shirt.
I don't even know where I put.
Now
Oh
that
yes, I want her OMG shirt. Excellent.
Right? We need like team OMG
That'd
shirts
be
right
cool.
here.
Yeah.
Well, now that you mentioned, just quickly on wanting her roommate Peyton to kind of go against her, because the cases have been so easy for Clive, like, hey, just tell me your visions. So that would be really cool to just see someone try to get in her way, and it's her best friend.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Speaking of Clive, our dear friend Babs may be doing something shady in the next episode.
Right.
The
Next episode looks
Which, like,
concerning.
It does, which I don't know what to think about that, because I like to think that I should make a prediction on that, because that is what, you know, we see. But initially, my mind was like, oh, they're just trying to make us think that going into the next episode, but they probably Liv is seeing something wrong or is twisting her vision to some capacity, and it's not going to be what it seems. I don't want to see Babs, or I don't imagine him being a bad guy, but it would be cool if he did end up being the one that is working against them, especially since I think he already has suspicions about her, seeing him be on the opposite side, derailing their cases, and Peyton more so being somebody helping them.
Interesting.
I think that could be cool.
That could be, yeah, because he's got a very interesting kind of like insider's look into what Liv is capable of, more so than most others.
Right.
So for him to take that knowledge and then kind of spin on things and kind of go the opposite route would be super interesting. That would be it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be a cool thing.
Be a cool angle, guys.
that.
Cool
And
angle.
exciting. I mean, come on, Kung Fu next week. Automatic Kung Fu. Like, I know it took 4 episodes for her to eat someone that could kick someone's butt.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Which will be really awesome to see her
Finally,
that way.
more just fighting.
We're getting the music. Guys,
It's time, guys.
It's that time. So we are peacing out, you guys. Real quick, tell everybody where they can find you.
I'm Jared Gilkerson, and that's at Gilkerson Radio on Twitter.
And I'm Blake V. You can find me Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Blake V Media.
And I'm Hannah Prichard, y'all, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at The Hotshot Dude. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please go write, comment, let us know how we're doing. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys so much. Peace out.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.